What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. I'm that Scottish nerd that brings you Pokemon TCG content. So if you're interested in that, be sure to hit the subscribe button down below, as I do post videos multiple times a week. But in today's video we have Theme Deck Tuesday, where I take a theme deck, review it, and have some matches with it and let you know how we get on and my thoughts on it. So let's get into that deck profile. As always, there are timestamps if you want to skip past the deck profile though, so let's get into it. Now, as with any theme deck, I like starting off with the main Pokemon, which is in the front of the box, and is the shiny holo card that you get. This time around, it is the Alolan Exeggutor with that Tropical Shake attack. For just 1 grass energy, you deal 20 damage, but for each different type of energy in your discard pile, you can do 120 damage total, because you're doing 20 for each energy, but it caps out at 5 different types of energy, unfortunately. I really wish it would be more than that, because then in the standard and expanded format you could do a whole bunch of damage, but you are capped at 120, which is still a nice amount, and considering this is a stage 1 Pokemon with 160 HP, that is more than what some stage 2 Pokemon have. This is going to be very good for tanking a couple of hits, surviving, and allowing you to knock out multiple Pokemon. We also have a very diverse deck here. If we take a look at the deck as a whole, we have a bunch of different types of Pokemon, as well as a whole bunch of different types of energy to go along with that attack that we just looked at. So we'll start at the beginning here on the very far left. We have Furfrou, which allows you to draw cards until you have 5 in your hand. Very nice setup Pokemon. Then we also have the Rattatas, the Alolan Rattatas that is. Does only have 40 HP, but it is very nice stats elsewhere, as it does attack for free and deals 20 damage. So typically for a free attack you'd be looking at 10 damage, but 20 damage for free, very good, and it has free retreat. Then you can go into one of two Raticate. We have this Raticate, which has Enhanced Fang. It attacks for free, it does 10 damage, but if it has a tool card attached to it, it does 60 damage. 60 damage for free, definitely can't complain about that. Secondary attack, we don't really care about since it is a coin flip. Going into the next Raticate here, we have Evil Orders for 2 colourless energy. Very nice setup attack, as you are able to set your deck for a number of cards equal to the number of your benched Pokemon. So if you have a full bench, you could search your deck for 5 cards. Could be nice for getting set up, but typically you're not going to be using it all that often. And it does have a nice second attack here, as it does deal 60 damage and potentially 30 more for each heads that you're able to flip. Moving on to the Cubone here, it's not the best Pokemon. 2 energy for 40 damage is not very good, but it evolves into Alolan Marowak. This is what we care about, as it does have that Alolan Club attack, dealing 20 damage for each of your Alolan Pokemon in play. So it does include itself as well. So if all of your Pokemon are Alolan in their name, you're going to be dealing 120 damage for 2 energy. So much like the Alolan Exeggutor, very efficient, and we do have a lot of Alolan Pokemon. And with the first attack here as well, you can search your deck for 2 energy for free and put them onto your Pokemon. So Alolan Pokemon, lots of attacks that can be used for free, which is very nice. We also have a Solrock here, which is good for drawing 2 cards with the first attack double draw. And we also have Solar Heat, which for fighting energy does 20. And then if you have a Stadium, it does 20 more, but we don't have a Stadium. There's not a lot of decks in the theme deck format with Stadium, so typically you're just looking at 20, and usually you're just using double draw. We also have the Execute here as well. Of course, for the Alolan Exeggutor, it has Multiply, so you're able to search your deck for another Execute and put it into play, which is nice if you want to get set up. Other than that, not too much to talk about. Of course, there's the Exeggutor that we just looked at, and then we also have the Oricorio here, which has a nice ability allowing you to search your deck for 2 energy of any types when you put this Pokemon into play. So typically, it's pretty bad if you start with this Pokemon, but if you can have it in your hand, very good ability. And then 2 energy, 30 damage, not the best, but considering it's a psychic type attacker, it is still quite nice. And of course here, almost forgot, we also have a water attacker in the form of Alolan Sandshrew. Fury Swipes for free can potentially do 30 damage, and then the Alolan Sandsplash, not a very good attacker since it does attack for 3 energy, but the ability on it, Slush Rush, is allowing you to draw a card every single turn. If you get both of these into play, drawing 2 for free, again, lots of things happening in this deck for free. And you do have a bunch of different types that you can make use of. You can hit for weakness with grass or with fighting, as well as, if you really need to, with water, as well as with Oricorio, I suppose, hitting for psychic weakness. Getting into the trainer cards here, we do have a couple of reasonable supporter cards, the main one being Sophocles. Discarding 2 cards, so you're able to discard 2 energy, and that's going to allow you to power up that Tropical Shake attack, and then just straight drawing 4 cards. Very powerful supporter in this particular deck. We also have Befested Kukui, so we can do additional damage, and that's going to allow you to push that Tropical Shake from dealing 120 up to 140. Definitely going to be the difference maker in a couple of different matchups where Pokemon have 130 hit points, and then just drawing 2 cards as well is always good. We have Lily, again, great draw, especially going second on your first turn. We have a copy of a Lady, which is going to get us 4 energy out of the deck. Very good for thinning the deck. And of course we have How. What theme deck is not complete without a copy of a draw 3 supporter? Then for our trainer cards that are not supporters, we have Ultra Ball here. Very good, 2 copies of these, searching out any Pokemon and being able to discard energy. Then we have a Rescue Stretcher to get back Pokemon. We have a single potion just to heal off, maybe we can be extra tanky with our Exeggutor, for example. And we have 2 copies of Nest Ball, that's going to get us a basic Pokemon into play. We also have the Energy Lottos, that's going to get us energy retrievals, more energy, and Escape Rope switching out is always nice. And we also have a copy of Fuel Blower, not going to be particularly useful in that many matchups as there's not many theme decks with tool cards, but we are playing the tool cards for that Raticate. We have a Skateboard, and we also have a Weakness Policy. You're not going to have a very good time against fire decks overall because the main fire decks are Charizard, so those typically get set up pretty quickly, and Weakness Policy isn't going to help you a huge amount since those decks do have a very high damage potential anyway. But overall, the deck has a lot of potential. I love the Alolan Exeggutor as an attacker. I use this in a deck. You can actually go and check out an old video of mine where I did a deck profile on the dragon version of this. It's the exact same Pokemon but in a dragon typing. And yeah, I really love this Pokemon and the deck has a lot of potential, so let's get into a couple of matches. Give a like on this video as well as a comment leaving your thoughts on the deck, if you've tried it, what you think of some of the Pokemon, that kind of thing. We'll get into some matches and see how we get on today. Alright, we're up against the starter deck, the Psychic Glide deck that you get when you first make an account on the online game, so we might actually have a chance at winning here, which is nice. When you play one of these older decks you typically struggle to actually get wins, so hopefully we'll actually be able to pull it out of the bag here. And did opt to start with the Rattata since we can actually go into the Raticate, as well as the fact that it can attack for free for 20 damage, so it's a very efficient attacker. And we even get Lily in our opening hand as well, which is great. Tempted to put down the first row, but kind of want to keep my bench open so that I can put a bunch of Alolan Pokemon into play. We get another Rattata, which is very nice, and could just Energy Lotto here to try and thin the deck a little bit. We do get some energy, which is good. We have Grass Energy. I'll just grab the Fighting Energy. It's not really going to make much of a difference, but if we get something like Ultra Ball or even Sophocles, then we can use one of those to discard the necessary energy in order to power up our Tropical Shake attack. And we will just go for the Gnaw for 20 damage. Going into our opponent's turn, they're going to be attaching energy onto their Pokemon and most likely just using the Hoot here in order to attack, but it doesn't actually deal damage. The Hoot just draws 2 cards for both players with dual draw, so definitely not going to complain about drawing additional cards, especially on my opponent's turn. And there is that Ultra Ball that I was talking about, so we're going to be able to use this to discard 2 energy. We can get rid of the Fighting Energy as well as the Psychic Energy here. We can keep the Dark around just to attach onto our benched Rattata. And we're definitely going to be grabbing the Raticate here, which also attacks for free. And if we have a tool card attached, it's going to be dealing 60 damage. So we'll put the Weakness Policy onto there. As I said, attaching the Dark onto the bench. and we don't need to play any of these other cards, so we can attack for free and deal 60 damage, which is going to be the knockout on the poor little Hoot Hoot. Could have kept it around just so that my opponent could use dual draw and draw cards for me, which could have been nice, but considering the efficiency and the damage that we're dealing here, it's going to be worthwhile just to start hitting into our opponent and taking knockouts while we can. And the opponent's deck is very slow at getting set up. All of their attacks are 2 or 3 energy costs, while ours are typically 1 and 2 cost, so it's going to be much easier for us to get set up compared to my opponent. We see they get the Evil Soda, which is going to allow them to evolve, and they can hit into us, but we have resistance, so it's not actually dealing any damage. We get the Lady, which is a good pickup off the top since we only have 1 copy of that in our deck. And we can grab a Dark Energy, a Grass Energy, Water, and a Fighting. Why not? Let's get all different types of energy, put those into our hand, and nicely thin out the deck a little bit. We can put the Dark onto the bench here, and we'll just hit into our opponent once again, dealing 60 damage for the knockout. Well, I suppose it is 120 because they have weakness, which is definitely a good thing. And we get another Rattata off of the prizes. So our benched Raticate is just about ready and fully powered up to actually attack. So first attack is good if we want to search out cards from our deck, but we're really not going to need it in this matchup considering we're just sweeping with this one Raticate, and there is the victory. My opponent knows that they're not going to be able to do anything with our one Raticate attacking for free. Awesome, let's get into another match here.